Hi everyone, I'm Carla Salp. Welcome to Ole Grown. Today we get to do something that I've been waiting to do since we started this show a couple of months ago, and that is start taking you on some private garden tours here in Olympia. Today I'm here with Tami Shaughnessy, and I'm super excited to show you her garden. I've actually seen it before, but she has just a style that I really appreciate, that it's so peaceful here. Tami, how long have you been gardening in this area?
Well, I've lived here since 1989, but this garden was actually established in 2013 when we built the house. So you can imagine we started with just a giant pile of mud and have turned it into what it is today, just a little bit at a time. So it's quite a project, and it continues to go on, but we'll just keep working on it.
So everything that we're going to see today has come about in about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be amazing to see what you can do in really a pretty short period of time. So let's go check it out. So before we actually enter the garden, we're standing before this awesome kind of shed with all kinds of suns. What is this that we're looking at here?
Well, I kind of have a funky art technique here. So this is just a collection of sun faces I found in various places and yard sales and all over the place, and I just thought it would be kind of fun. So they've sort of taken up the whole space, but it's all good.
That's awesome. It's a really welcoming piece to come into the garden. So why don't we do that? Why don't we head on in and you can show us around?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, I see some amazing bamboo here. I won't lie, I'm a little bit jealous. You tell me about the bamboo and how did this happen?
Well, I wouldn't recommend planting it in general, but we inherited this bamboo from the neighbors. It sort of ran away over here, and it kind of behaves itself in this little area, so we pretty much just leave it here to do its own thing. Bamboo is a very odd plant. It's actually a grass, and it'll come out of the ground as big as it's going to be when it gets tall. So you'll come out here and there'll be this giant thing coming out of the ground, and then it can actually grow up to 12 inches a day. So the next day you'll come out and it'll be this tall. So it's pretty amazing stuff.
Wow. So this provides a lot of shade. Do the birds like this bamboo as well?
Yeah, we see little birds in here all the time. It's pretty interesting stuff. When the snow is here, it's very brittle, and when the snow is here, I was out here at 2 in the morning shaking off bamboo.
Oh no.
In the middle of the night. I think the neighbors thought I was crazy, but
The crazy bamboo lady?
Yeah, but once it breaks, it's done, so
Oh, no.
you have to try to save it from getting too broken.
So what kind of bamboo is this again?
This is considered to be timber bamboo. It's the kind of stuff they make houses out of in Japan. So some of these are actually 10 or 15 years old, and some of them are new. The darker green ones are actually last year's bamboo, and the yellower ones have been around quite a long time.
So do you ever use any of the bamboo that grows here in your own yard?
We've made some things with it. We gave a whole bunch to a guy at Evergreen that was making bamboo furniture in a class. So we pile it up and dry it out and make a few things and give it to people. But people will come by and say, "Can you dig me some up?" And the answer is no.
We're not going to spread this problem.
It takes 3 men and a tractor to get it out of here, so that's not happening.
So Tami, I see these types of little things throughout your garden here. What is this mosaic that we've got here?
Well, I actually made this. You have to have something to do in the winter when it rains all the time. So I do mosaics for fun. So there's a bunch of different ones here. There's 4 posts scattered throughout the garden, and then a bunch of little animals and stuff like that that I've done over the winters, just to have something to do.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love the different art pieces that you have throughout the garden.
Yeah, they kind of have different themes. So this one sort of has a pond bamboo-y theme. So, yeah.
Nice. All right, this beautiful garden path here, Tammy. What kind of things are we seeing along?
Well, these are columbine, and they kind of have done their own thing, as columbine do. But I kind of like them, so I leave them. These little black ones, the little double black ones here, came from my grandma. She grew them all the time, so they're kind of taken over, but I kind of like them.
That's really special.
And then we have daylilies and peonies. I'm kind of partial to peonies. And then there's a lot of lilies here too. They're not quite ready to bloom yet, but you can see them about half grown there. And these will eventually be squash, these two towers. I put squash on both of these because they get a little bit better airflow, so they don't get the powdery mildew as bad.
Nice.
And so it's kind of fun to come out here in August and see these gigantic spaghetti squash hanging off the sides of them.
Yeah, those look really sturdy. You can definitely handle a bigger squash like that.
Yeah, and they get a lot of nice sun here too, so it's nice. So throughout the garden there's different fruit trees and stuff. This is a fig. This is a Olympia fig actually, and you can see it's pretty happy. It's got a lot of figs on it. We call him Fig Newton. So and he's in a cage here because the squirrels like figs too. So
Squirrels are fans of figs. I
Yes.
have a fig tree, but it is not nearly that big yet. It's also in a pot, which might be a problem.
yeah, that might slow it down a bit, but he's only 4 or 5 years old, so
Wow, it's doing great. Looks like you'll have quite a few figs this year.
yeah, it's kind of fun.
Nice. So it looks like you have some things blooming here. What are those?
These are an olive red iris, and so they're a different variety of iris. The rest of these are all tall bearded iris, and the little short ones in the front are standard dwarf bearded iris.
Nice.
So there's probably 200 or 300 iris here
Wow.
mixed in and along the back. I love them because you don't have to really take care of them much, and they give you a lot of nice color.
Okay, so what is this? Seems like it's kind of a different area of the garden, and we've got this sort of hoop thing.
Well, this is intended to be a moon garden, so it kind of has a moon slash white theme. Most of the plants in here are white. There's a few that have snuck in over the years, but they're either white or they have white leaves, or it definitely has a white theme. The moon gate is actually a trampoline that we recycled and
Nice.
built into a moon gate, so it was a good project.
That's one thing I know about you is you're really good at like recycling things and getting deals. So you've really filled this garden out, I think, as inexpensively as possible, really.
Well, when you have this much space, you have to. So I spent a lot of time cruising the clearance racks and getting plants from friends and buying on the internet and a lot of different things. So, and trading and that kind of thing. So it's filled up quite nicely by just doing that. There's some special things here, but there's some just trades too. The neighbors give me plants, and it's really fun to get different stuff.
Nice. So what's your favorite thing here in the moon garden?
The little owl, my owl on a bowling ball.
That's cute.
Yeah. And that white peony back there, which I absolutely love. I think it's gorgeous, so.
Strolling through the garden.
I know. So all of our fountains are solar. If the sun was up, you would see that that would be all the way up to the top. And then there's another one behind you there that's also solar as well. And then the fountain out in the front, there's a fountain out in the front yard which is also solar. So we don't have any electricity out here, so we have to make the best of it that we can, and solar works. So keeping in the fruit tree theme, there's a pear. So the one on the far end is a pear. This is a three-way plum, and then the one behind us is also a plum.
What do you mean by a three-way plum?
It has three different kinds. I can't tell you what. There's three different kinds of plums on it. So it has two different yellow ones and a purple one. So, and it actually has quite a few plums on it in plum time in the fall. So I'm looking for a fruit picker so I can get them all.
More of the mosaic art.
Yes. This is my newest one with the birdhouses on it.
Oh, that's
That was
beautiful.
this winter project.
I really like it. I'm seeing one or two strawberries.
A few,
here.
yeah. There's a bunch more over there too.
Very nice. And so I see a couple more of your art here in the garden. We've got a couple of fish, looks like, coming up a stream. Tell me about this part.
Well, this area back here was a giant mud pit, and it was a lake the first couple of years we lived here. So we built this dry stream bed to kind of alleviate some of the water. There's actually 4 tons of rock in here. Ask me how I know that. And then I just thought the fish were kind of cool. I saw them at the flower show, so I had to have them. So I thought the fish were kind of cool. And
That's
then
perfect.
some blue plants around the edge to sort of give it a watery look.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love it. That's fantastic. That's really working with what you had. You've got a mud pit, tossing some rocks, and
Yeah.
you've got a beautiful addition to your garden.
Well, and it really helped with the water too. The rocks and stuff really helped with the drainage.
Practical and beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, looks like we've entered another section. What do we have here?
Well, we
First
have-
off, what is this plant?
This is a medlar. It's a very old kind of plant. It has the neatest little flowers on it, and it gets these really weird little fruits on it in the fall. You can eat them, but you have to do special stuff to them to be able to do that. But I just thought it was kind of cool, and the fruits are very weird looking and different, so I had to have one. But this is my tea garden, so it all kind of has a tea theme. So there's tea camellia, there's some thyme and chamomile, some stevia, just if you want some sweetener, and just a little kitty cat to kind of keep it company.
Oh yeah, I didn't see before the little teacups back there. That's so cute. Nice. So have you ever made some of your own teas from what you have here in the garden?
Not yet, it's pretty new, so I haven't had a chance, but
Yeah, I grow some mint and also a pineapple sage.
oh yeah.
And which not only makes beautiful flowers, but there's like a really fruity flavor to the pineapple sage leaves.
Oh,
They're
nice.
Really good. I love it. So I get some of that every year.
Some of these are the hula berries that you can find. They're kind of special. I got them out of a clearance rack, but I've never actually gotten any berries off of them. I think the bunnies beat me to it, but I'd love to see some.
Kind of whitish.
Yeah, they're
berries.
white berries. So we'll see if we get anything this year. There's definitely something going on there.
Yeah, I like the stone kind of seating area that you have here. And is this moss that's kind of growing in between the pavers?
Yeah, it just kind of came by itself, and I kind of
wow.
liked it, so I left it.
I
So
honestly thought you planted that.
it's better than weeding it.
Yeah, that's that's very natural and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, we'll
So,
we'll
sorry, go
stick with that.
yeah. Looks like you might enjoy some fires out here in the evenings as well.
Well, it's actually got solar lights in there. You can't burn in Thurston County, so I put solar lights in it.
Sorry,
So
I live out of town. I didn't know that.
I'd be afraid to burn the neighbor's house down. So it's got some nice solar lights, so you can sit out here and have a beverage and watch your solar lights.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, one of the things I love about your garden is kind of the carefree style that has, which I really love. I know a lot of people like a more formal style, but I really like sort of the carefree feeling of your garden, and just you're kind of on the edge of town, and so you've got some trees on the outside, and it's nice and quiet and peaceful back here, and it's beautiful.
I call it gardening by happy accident.
I love it. I would like to steal that. So, gardening by happy accident. So I know this has a special story, so tell me, what is this?
Underneath this little doghouse thing here is a 300-gallon cistern, and it takes the rainwater off the roof, and we use it to water our garden in the summertime.
Wow, so that's a super sustainable step that you've taken here for your garden. That's actually really a kind of a theme that we've seen throughout this garden, the sustainability of how you've planted it and sort of just letting nature take its course in some cases, but it's working out beautifully.
And it's pretty low, pretty much everything here is low water use. There's not anything that really requires a lot of water. And it's all chipped pretty well too, which helps to retain the moisture and keep it better.
Retain moisture and keep some of the weeds down.
Yeah, that too.
I have to confess, weeds are sort of the bane of my existence.
I know. And I got a lot of them.
Looks like we've entered sort of the edible garden area. Although I have seen some edibles throughout, but what kind of things do you have going on in here?
Well, this is kind of a work in progress. This is an Espalier 6-way apple. Next to it is an Asian pear, and then those two down there are both pole apples. So they'll have apples all the way up the stalk of the tree, basically. Wow. There's some potatoes back here that are getting ready to go. Raspberries here, a couple of blueberries, and some garlic and onions. And it's just been too early to put anything else out, really. I'm really thinking about getting some tomatoes, but a little early, so.
I confess, I did put mine out last weekend, but I have a little hoop house thing over them, although it's not needing it this week.
No, I think it's about time, so.
Yeah, I have to say, I think your Espalier apple tree in particular, you did an amazing job. It's hard to believe that that's only been there for 6 years. That's great.
It's only 6. It's doing pretty good this year. There's actually little apples on it too, so I'm probably
quite a few.
Gonna get some fruit.
Awesome. So I noticed, I want to point out, I see a relatively tall fence here. Tell me about your fence.
Well, there's a reason for that. We have deer. We have a whole herd. And our mama deer has triplets every year, so she just keeps making more. So you got to live with them, and the best way to live with deer is to put up a big fence.
So they say fences make good neighbors.
And keep the deer out, yeah. And you also have to be aware of your gates, because she's jumped the gate a few times and come in here and eaten all the leaves off the trees. So that's why all the gates have little flags and stuff over them, because the deer won't come through if there's something in the way. Mm-hmm. So we've learned our lesson the hard way on that.
So what do we have here with kind of the bees on it, the bumblebee in particular?
It's called Centaurea. It's a perennial bachelor's button. Oh. So it comes in this white. There's also a blue version and a black version as well.
Very nice. I like it.
The bees do too.
So we're back in the front yard now, and this is not your typical lawn and front yard type of garden, but I love it. What was your thought behind this part?
Well, we were motivated by the fact we don't like to mow. So we didn't want to have to mow it, so we made a labyrinth. And a labyrinth is really a meditation path. The difference between a labyrinth and a maze is that a labyrinth has one way in and a one way out. A maze is one way in, straight through to go out. So if you walk all the way to the center in this and then go all the way back out the same way you came.
Wow, I did not know that.
See, there you go.
I feel the need to walk through there. Why don't we go stroll through the labyrinth, and you can tell me a little bit more about the things that you have in the garden here.
Well, most everything out here is deer resistant, because we have mama deer. And so I've discovered over the years that there's several things they don't eat normally, and a lot of it is out here. They don't eat peonies. They don't generally eat oriental poppies. They won't eat some grasses. They won't eat daylilies. They'll eat the flowers, but they won't eat the plant. They don't eat irises. What else? They don't eat red hot pokers. They are eating machines.
Sounds like they've really found a lot of things that they don't eat.
Well,
I'm impressed.
that being said, they'll eat anything once.
They don't mind eating my tomatoes, which I always find shocking.
I always wish a bellyache on them when they eat stuff they're not supposed to. But they don't generally eat herbs either. They don't like anything that's really strong flavored. So anything in the mint family, like bee balm or mint itself or anything like that, they won't eat that.
I almost felt like I was getting somewhere, but
I know.
gotta go out again. Psyched me out.
Well, so you'll eventually get to the middle. It's very meditative.
It is. I feel like calmer already. Believe me, I needed that the past couple of days at work.
Yay!
Okay, we'll do a high five for the camera. Ready?
The giant rock came from over there when they did the housing development.
Yeah?
At the end of the project, there was a pile of rocks, and my husband said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I want that rock." So he went and asked the developer if we could have the rock, and the developer was like, "Scar, we don't have to haul it off." So they dropped it off here, but they couldn't put the rock anywhere because they hadn't poured the driveway yet. So they dropped it up by the other house, and the guy came along with a bulldozer, and he was flipping this rock across the and it weighs about 2 tons. And so the other house, the things in the other house were shaking. And he got it right there and he said, "That's it." And we're like, "Okay, that's cool." But it's actually granite. It's a huge hunk of granite that we've been told came down here on a glacier from Canada 1 million years ago, literally. So,
You got a piece of Canada right in your own.
a piece of history. We call it our Volkswagen rock because it's about the size of a Volkswagen bug. It was our only landscaping for a very long time. I like my giant rock.
Don't blame me, that's a great story.
And then after they built the houses over there, what did they do? They brought in rocks.
After they had previously removed them.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, a lot of these big ones here came from that same pile of rocks.
Well, Tami, this has really been a beautiful garden and a lovely way to spend an evening. Thank you so much for having us out here and showing us around. I'm definitely inspired with some new ideas for my garden. I really love your style. Once again, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm always up for a garden tour.
Thank you. And if you want to be on Only Grown, we'd love to feature your garden as well. Contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or you can email us at onlygrowntv@gmail.com. Thanks. like approachable, like, oh, I can do that, and realize that people like not
Yeah,
everything's
you can show
perfect
it.
and manicured. Okay.
But not everything's perfect and manicured. Those letters came from my parents that owned a wrecking yard, and it was part of the signage from the wrecking yard when they closed it out.
Very nice. Everything has a story.
I know. We picked out the letters that spelled things and then sold the rest of them in a yard sale.